Final cultural analysis presentation by Elizabeth Ferreira. When you hear the word Italy, what comes to mind? Some probably think of beautiful artwork that they've seen in Italy. Some think of a huge family sitting around a table eating a tasty dinner. Some people think about pasta. Do you think about the entire scope of their culture? Italian's culture is made up of a lot more than red wine, cheese, pasta, and artwork. Through my research, I have learned the socioeconomic and political status of Italy, their language, religion, traditions, values, belief systems, their culture, etc. Through this paper, I will take you through step by step of Italy's culture, and you will see exactly why Italians are the way that they are. When learning about Italy's socioeconomic status, it is important to know that Italy went from a recession to an entirely new socioeconomic identity. The root of Italy's economic crisis was due to the fact that their economy was extremely dependent on exports that could not stay unaffected by the depressive consequences that reached more countries than Italy. Between the years of 1950 and 1990, Italy was the fastest growing Western nation, and that was partly due to their newcomer identity, along with many additional factors. A handful of huge enterprises, along with few publicly owned companies, gave long-term investments and innovation. Between these two factors, Third Italy created plenty of small and medium enterprises. This then, in return, provided Italy's economy with a flexible specialization. A chain of producers who were usually connected to national large-scale manufacturers quickly adapted to altering global as well as national demand. The politics of Italy are conducted through a constitutional republic that has a multi-party system in place. On June 2, 1946, the monarchy abolished popular referendum and a constituent assembly was elected to draft a new constitution. Ever since then, Italy has been a democratic republic. The president is the head of the state, although his position is separate from the rest of the branches. The current president of Italy is Sergio Mattarella, and the minister of Italy is Matteo Renzi. The executive power is used by large by the Council of Ministers, which is conducted by the president of the council. The two houses of parliament, along with the Council of Ministers, have the legislative power and can introduce bills while holding the majority in the parliament. The judiciary also stands independent from the other branches, and it is headed by the High Council of the Judiciary. In the country of Italy, Italian is the most popular language spoken. Italian is a Romance language and is also the closest language to Latin when it comes down to vocabulary. Italian is the official language of a handful of countries, including Italy, Vatican City, Croatia, and Switzerland. Italian is a major European language due to the fact that it is one of the few official languages of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Italian is in third place for languages that are most widely spoken in the European Union, considering there are 65 million native speakers. It is the fundamental language of the Holy See, which also serves as a bridge language in the hierarchy of the Roman Catholic Church. Italian is an extremely influential language because it is known as the language of music due to its use in the opera and musical terminology. The influence of Italian language is unrestricted to connections with arts and luxury good products. Italian dialects were originally built from colloquial language that belonged to the Roman Empire. The very first text was a ridicule from Verona in the 8th century, but its interpretation back then was ambiguous. The Italian language has developed over time and is highly influenced by other languages, including German and post-Roman invaders. The Catholic Church holds a huge amount of influence on Italy due to their historical tradition. Traditionally, the Church of Rome acts not only as a constant in government, but also the organization of public life. The state and Catholic Church traditionally maintain a close relationship together, which is the center of Italian society and also political power. However, a concordat was signed in the year of 1984, which stopped the church's stance as a state of religion and also abolished religious teaching in public schools. In Italy, every town or village has at least one or more Catholic church. Even though only a quarter of Italians attend Mass, more than 95% of Italians have been baptized. The majority of Italians also prefer to be married in a church and have their children take their first communion at the age of 8 or 9, even if after then they don't regularly go to church. When visiting churches in Italy, though, it is important to dress appropriate and modest. It is best to avoid shorts, short skirts, tank tops, or anything that shows a woman's shoulders. Italy is responsible for a number of architectural style classics like Roman, Renaissance, and Neoclassical. Italy is also familiar with a few of the most recognized structures in the world, including the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which you can see to my right, and the Colosseum. The big idea of a basilica was also born in Italy as well. The word basilica originally was used to distinguish an open public court building, but it soon changed meanings to become a Catholic pilgrimage site. Rome has dozens of museums where you can see artwork, but the most viewed artwork is found in churches and in public buildings. The ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican was painted by the notable Michelangelo between the years of 1508 and 1512, and hundreds of tourists visit it daily. Opera also has lineage in Italy, and many world-renowned operas were written in Italian and continue to be sung in the native language. Aida and La Traviata were both written by Giuseppe Verdi in Italian, and they are known by many. A short while ago, Luciana Povarda, a well-known tenor, had made opera more attainable to the masses as a particle of the three tenors. Italy is also known for world-renowned fashion houses, including Prada, Versace, Armani, and Gucci. These brands are huge in America and Italy as well. Italian cuisine has altered food across the entire world. Many people believe that Italian cuisine is actually an art form. Wine, cheese, and pasta are considered essentials in all Italian meals. The pasta varies in shapes, widths, and lengths, and are created then into penne, spaghetti, linguine, lasagna, etc. In the Italian culture, food brings people together. In an article, Ragnard stated, family gatherings are frequent and often centered around food and the extended networks of families. What people aren't aware of is that in different parts of Italy, people eat different things. Most foods that Americans categorize as Italian foods, such as pizza, spaghetti, and meatballs, those are found in central Italy. In the north of Italy, you'll find sausages, porks, rice, tomatoes, fish, variety of different cheeses as regular ingredients in most meals. Now, pasta dishes with tomatoes and stuffed pazza are extremely popular in the north. In the south, you'll find dishes that tomatoes prevail in. They're served fresh or cooked in the sauce. There's also a lot of capers, olives, garlic, and ricotta cheese that are found in many dishes there. Family is an essential value within the Italian culture. While most families in America focus on the mom, dad, and the kids, in Italy, their family circle is focused on extended family as well. Italians have a huge family roundups and enjoy spending time with their family around the dinner table. In Italian culture, children are reared to remain close to their family upon adulthood and then incorporate their future family into the larger network. Loyalty and commitment are essential between family members. Italians are famous for their family-centered culture and a handful of small businesses. Not many people are aware of the fact that a single family still primarily controls over large companies, including Fiat. Wagner stated many families that immigrated from Italy are traditionalists by nature, with the parents holding traditional gender roles. This has become challenging for younger generations as gender roles have morphed in the American culture and today stand at odds with the father being the primary breadwinner and the undisputed head of the household, the mother being the primary caretaker of the home and the children. Meetings in Italy tend to be less formal when compared to countries such as Russia or Germany. The familial structure that Italians provide can sometimes get a tad chaotic, filled with animated exchanges. When Italians do business, they usually don't make opinions based on what outsiders say. They prefer to have verbal exchanges with people that are acquainted in business. Italians have a natural attention to detail when it comes to beauty. Italians have an undeniable instinct for quality that is also known as style. From a beautiful vase to a tiny espresso spoon, the attention to detail that you'll find in Italy is natural. Italians are also fascinated with la bella figura, which means looking good. This Italian obsession with looking good is taken far past articles of clothing. It's taken onto personal and individual styles. Italians go the extra mile and pull off many different styles. For people who aren't particular about their looks, this preoccupation with beauty can come off as shallow, but I do not think it's reasonable to jump to conclusions. Italian society is built off of trust, and in order to gain trust from someone, you must have the appropriate image. The media landscape in Italy is constantly changing and developing while still holding some of their original roots. The print media in Italy, which used to be a phenomenon, has died down due to a lack of newspaper readership. Radio is also a popular form of media in Italy, and there are two public stations that are essential stations, which include Radio Uno and Radio Duo. There's also a station called Radio Tre, which is a talk radio station that also plays some classical hits. Italians can choose from 8 different free national TV channels and then 800 local TV channels as well. Back in the 1940s, Italian cinema was completely controlled by neorealism. Once the 1960s started, Italians noticed that the movie industry was finally in its golden age. Cinema soon started going out of business due to a rapid decline in sales. The industry has been fighting to stay relevant ever since. When it comes to the internet, Italians have been extremely slow embracing it, but gradually over the years it has become more and more relevant. Digital media has also taken over Italy because newspapers are now having their own web versions, which the Italians love. In conclusion, I find the history and culture of Italy to be completely breathtaking. Between learning about their political status, cuisine, religion, language, media, morals, etc., I feel like I have a really strong grasp as to the Italian culture and all that it includes. I'd like to end this presentation with a quote that I find to be very true about Italians. Love and understand the Italians, for the people are far more marvelous than the land.